future beard technology. Thing doesn't messed up my face. I pressed started. Roll the intro. What's up, guys? Giovanni here. And today, I'm gonna do top 13 plot lines I would like to see in Supernatural Season 13. Now first, I'm gonna try to keep the stuttering to a minimum, because in that previous video, bro, I was just like stuttering a lot. But yeah. But first, I would like to say Supernatural is one of my favorite TV shows of all time, in my top 30, especially the intro. That's why I played Season 3, because that's definitely my favorite out of all the ones we have seen, especially from the alternate ones, right? We have the CSI, right? I forgot, was that Season 5? That was definitely the Gabrielle episode, changing channels. We got the Metatron one in Season 9. I think that has to be my second favorite intro. You got the Burning Map one. I forgot what season that was. I think it was, doesn't really matter. And you got the very Christmas special one. And yeah. So let's get into number 13. And that is, I would like to see Maggie and Don Stark return. Now, originally for Season 13, I would have had it be about witches, or at least the first half be about witches. Because Dean, in the earlier seasons, I could be wrong, but Dean said that witches is one of the monsters he hates the most. I could be wrong. He either says one of, or it is the most monster he hates. But I could be wrong. The way I would have set this up is that this could be the season, or half of the season, where Rowena can actually die. I have been a big fan of Rowena, or was a big fan of Rowena in Season 10. At the beginning of Season 10, people didn't really like her. I said, what's wrong? I think she's a nice, a nice new character to the show. She's Carly's mom. We never, got any backstory to her. I mean, she was mentioned in Season 8. She was mentioned before. So to actually see her was nice. And towards the end of Season 10, I started becoming not a fan of hers. And I could see why people didn't like her. And when Lucifer snapped her neck, I was so happy. But then they brought her back. The way I would have set this up was, you will use the Book of the Damned. You can see the Steins, because remember, the American Steins said that there's other versions of them out there. Now, maybe you could say that the reason they haven't come after them, the Book of the Damned, is because they don't really care about it, or don't care about it anymore. So that's why, or that's what I would have done for Season 13. But we already know what's going to happen in Season 13. Anyway, let's move on to number 12. And number 12 is, I would like to see a Troops return. If you don't know who that character is, she's an angel of fate. And she has to be killed by a silver angel blade. I'll put it right here, the way she has to be killed. But anyway, she was introduced in Season 6. And what happened was that Balazar sunk the Titanic. Because he didn't like the movie, and because pretty much Castiel needed it to happen so he could beat Raphael in heaven. Almost said hell. But, fate ended up killing the descendants. And Sam and Dean, because of Castiel, had Sam and Dean keep the memories of what was happening to them. Now, we have had time travel episodes after her, after she was introduced. And I've always wondered, where's she been at? And Like I thought she was like gonna be brung back in the episode in season 12. Not season 12. Was it season 12? Yes, it was season 12 with Gavin, the return of Gavin, right? And she did not appear. So I think season 13 should be where she returns. You can have a time travel episode where something happens where people live, and she ends up coming back killing the descendants again. And you could also bring in her two sisters, because remember,
I've got two sisters out there. They're bigger in every sense of the word.
Yes, I agree. See, y'all remember. Now let's move in to number 11. And number 11 should be the return of the forgotten supernatural spinoff, Supernatural Bloodlines. Now, if y'all don't remember this episode, it happened in season 9. This was going to be a backdoor pilot into its own spinoff, where we was going to follow hunters and monsters fighting in Chicago. Now, the episode ended up not being so good, mostly because Sam and Dean wasn't really in it, and I actually understand that because, well, it's setting up a spinoff. And by the way, we could be getting another spinoff. They're trying for another spinoff, and I think it's going to star Claire, Jody, Alex, and maybe Donna. Called, I forgot what it's called. Oh, what it's potentially to be called. Carry On My Wayward Daughters? Huh. I would have just called it Supernatural Daughters. Okay. Because you have to at least have Supernatural in the title, and then you have a possible subtitle. But anyway. Now, you had this black guy. I don't even remember his name at all, so I had to prefer him the black guy. I'm not racist, and I'm black. Well, I'm not black. I'm brown, if you can see. But I put a picture and what is his name right here. And a monster which Dean called out because he looked like Freddy Krueger. And we know how Dean is with his, culture references to TVs and movies he has watched. He called him Freddy Krueger, which I was hoping, because when I saw the teaser trailer, I said Dean better throw out a Freddy Krueger reference, and he did. I was so happy. Anyway, the Freddy Krueger looking guy killed the black boy's girlfriend, and Sam and Dean ended up calling other hunters to come to Chicago and help the black guy out to kill the monsters. Now, when or if we ever see this plot again, we either could go with two ways. Either one, which I think they should go with, and that is the British men and letters wipe them all out. And that's the way you could just simply end it. Remember you have Sam and Dean say, remember blah 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 a couple years ago? He said, yeah. Oh, the British men and letters wiped them out. Because they kill everybody Sam and Dean interact with. Okay, not really. Mostly the people who don't deserve to live, should I say. And the second option is where we follow new characters. Now you can have the brother to the black guy and say, oh, he died, and we follow new monsters who are like the descendants, maybe they had children in those 4 years, and that's pretty much it. But I at least I've been waiting for them to follow, come back to this storyline. Yes, I know it was probably a bad episode, nobody really liked it, but they just opened this door. We just need to open the door, season 9, and then close the door. Simply 2 episodes to the spinoff. Simply done. Okay? But it needs to happen before the series goes off the air. But anyway, let's move into number 10.
10.
I would like to see Jesus introduced to the show. Now, we have had Jesus been mentioned in the past of Supernatural. He was mentioned by this older couple. I'll put a picture right here. And he was mentioned in season 6 by Eve. And I think he was also mentioned in season 8. If I'm wrong, I'll put it right here. Anyway, some people have assumed or think that Jesus is Chuck. Now, I would totally be fine if Chuck was God and Jesus. You know, he made the sins and he died for our sins. So I'd be totally fine with that. Now, you will have to explain where's Jesus been this whole time if he's not Chuck. Will you be saying, is he in heaven? Is he in hell? Is he on Earth? Is he on a different planet? Is he in the empty? Is he where the leprechauns live? Is he where the fairies is? I don't know. But you have to explain where Jesus has been this whole time. And if he's on Earth, you could just say he's been watching Sam and Dean from a distance. You know, and I think that's be a simple way to go with. I'll go with that one. Jesus has just been watching Sam and Dean from a distance. If Jesus is not God. Very simple. Let's move into number 9. And number 9 is the simple thing they've been doing since episode 1 of season 1 of Supernatural. And that is Monster of the Week. Now, this season has to be one of the best Monster of the Weeks because I think Monster of the Weeks should be corresponding to the main story, which is Lucifer and the Nephilim, or the Arch Nephilim, is what I like to say. You know, since it's an Archangel Nephilim, oh, never mind. But a monster I would like to see in the Monster of the Week is a green-eyed demon. Now, remember, in season 11, Dean mentioned this. I'll put the episode title right here. And Sam said, wait, they don't exist. Wait, he didn't say that. Anyway, forget what Sam said. But I would like to know is that, did Crowley make the green-eyed demons? Maybe when he was king? Did Avalon make the green-eyed demons? You know, that would be nice. And, you know, you have mentioned, Supernatural has mentioned monsters in the past that have never been on screen. So instead of trying to make new ones, let's try to go back and see what monsters in Supernatural history that's been mentioned but never been shown. One thing I would like to see, another monster I would like to see, is what is Cole's father? Or is that even Cole? Like maybe the monster killed Cole's father and then took over his body, or, you know, took its place and killed the mother. I don't know. But that would be nice. You know, I've been wondering, what is Cole's father really? Now, people have been wondering, throwing guesses what it could be. I'll put one of them right here. I think that is one I would like to be seeing during season 13, especially Cole's father. The green-eyed demon thing, you could totally not even see a green-eyed demon in the show. So they could just mention it, but never see it. I'd be totally fine with that. But yeah, the Monsters of the Week should be more, you know, filler, but yeah, still filler, but it's more corresponding to what's happening in the main story. I don't want, let me say this, I don't want any filler that's not corresponding to the main story. Supernatural, since season 6, or maybe even before that, they've had filler that's not been really connected to the main story, but still be good. Even nowadays, like season 12, Supernatural 12, season 12, my bad, had a lot of good fillers that wasn't even connected to the main story. Like the Forgetting Dean episode, like I said with Rowena, you know, good moments. Dean crying in front of the mirror, trying to, you know, keep repeating so he doesn't forget. That almost brought back season 10 moments, where season 10 Dean was beating Cass, and I cried in the inside. You can't make this guy cry outside. It has to take a lot. It's got to take a lot to make this guy cry on the outside. There's only one time I cried on the outside, and that is my wife. I mean, never mind. Nope, I'm not gonna get into that. Screw it. Let's just go into number 8. But hold up. Nope, let's move into number 8. And that is, I would like to see another innovative supernatural episode. You know, we have always had those supernatural episodes like Changing Channels, Weekend at Bobby's, the 200 episode or 250th episode. You know, season 10, episode 4, or was it 5? Put it right here. And then season 11, we had Baby. Do we have one in season 12? I don't think so. Yeah, so season 13 should be another innovative episode. Something I think that should be happening is I would like to see Dean and Sam take on a monster in the ocean. So maybe we can see Dean and Sam in a submarine. Wouldn't that be nice? And we can get more brother type. You know, this is another brother type episode. We have not had Sam and Dean moments, like really true Sam and Dean moments, since season 1. Or seasons 1 through 3 mostly. And yeah. But like imagine that submarine episode. Or what if Sam and Dean go into space? I mean, because we know Dean is afraid of flying, so. Or we could do another episode with clowns, since Sam is afraid of clowns because of Dean. Oh, man. Or maybe we could do a flashback episode. I like flashbacks, especially if it's connected to what's going on in the main story or the present. But let me just say this real quick. If flashbacks does happen this season, I would like to know the specific year. You don't have to give the date, but I'd like to know what year does it take place. Number 7. This one's gonna be short and simple. Short and simple. I would like to see other men and letters. Now, people may not like this one. This is not really a plot episode, but I would like to see the Canadian men of letters. I would like to see the Italian men of letters. I would like to see the Australia men of letters. Hell, I would like to see the Africa men of letters. That'd be so. Oh man! And then you say during season 12, the British try to get the other men of letters involved, and they said that this is not our problem. Oh, I especially want to see the Italian men of letters. You think you can mess with me? Or the Jamaican men of letters? Oh man, so many men of letters they could go with. Or maybe they could go with like, there's like a section where it's just women of letters. Oh. See, very easy. Something I would like to see. I know it's not a plot thing, but in these men of letters, all the others but the British are very easy to work with, because the British are hard to work with. They don't want to follow the rules. Just something I just thought about. Remember that old guy who was talking with Hess? Is he going to be involved in season 10? Because he's like the true leader of the British men of letters. People called him the old man or the old men. But if he is the true leader of the British men of letters, you know, Sam and Dean, or Lucifer, or the Nephilim, or all 4 of them are going to kill him. Hey, I just thought another one. Let's see a Sam and Dean and Lucifer team up, where they have to take down a bigger threat. I mean, there's only 4 more people who are, you know, bigger than Lucifer. Well, maybe the Nephilim, but number 6. Now, if y'all don't remember, in season 7, Amy, who was a childhood girlfriend of Sam's, was killed by Dean in season 7. And if y'all don't remember, Dean killed Amy, and the kid caught them. And the kid said, is there anybody, well, Dean, my bad, Then he said, you ever killed anybody? And he said, no. Just you. Well, he said, yes, just you. But I've been waiting for this storyline to come back. I don't like when Supernatural makes up all these plot lines and is then forgotten. Like Supernatural Bloodlines, of course. But out of all the things I would like to see on this list, I especially want this one to happen.
They are who they are. No matter how hard you try. You are what you are. And you will kill again.
I won't. I swear.
Trust me, I'm an expert. Maybe in a year, maybe 10. But eventually the other shoe will drop. It always does. I'm sorry. You ever kill anyone? Well, if you do, I'll come back for you.
The only person I'm gonna kill is you.
Well, look me up in a few years. Assuming I live that long.
Number 5 is I would like to see the alpha werewolf to be introduced in this season. Now, the alpha werewolf has been mentioned before. Now, this alpha, you could have this alpha be more nice. I mean, it'd be kind of hard, you know, since Sam and Dean has been killing werewolves since pre-season 1 as kids, you know. So maybe the alpha is like, when I made my generations, who made their generations, it's like, I don't care about them. The only person I truly care about is who you people killed, Sam and Dean. And that is my mother, Eve. That's the only person I truly care about. You can maybe even have the alpha werewolf be drunk. And somehow that's how he made the generations of werewolves. Now, this episode, what will happen is that you will have the alpha werewolf, Garth, and Kate being the episode. Because if you don't remember, Garth turned into a werewolf during season 8. Yes, season 8. And Garth ended up having a girlfriend or wife. Girlfriend or wife. And they end up having, you know, kids. No. They have a stepfather, my bad. And those 3 live together. And we haven't seen that. Well, I think Garth was originally supposed to be in season 12. But I guess the actor couldn't join season 12. So he ended up canceling. That's what happened. So maybe season 12 we'll actually see him. And we'll see that other actress who played Garth's wife return. And if you don't remember the stepdad, I'll put a picture right here. And I've always seen this guy in a lot of movies and other TV shows, you know, other media. You know, his face is very, you know, famous, should I say. So, let's move on to number 4, right? Now, this one, it can either take place before the Alpha Werewolf and Garth and Kate episode, or it can take place after. Now, this one would be about the Alpha Werewolf introduction, or not, and it'd be the Alpha Vampire Girl. If y'all don't remember this girl, she was in season 7, and she was also in season 11. Now, I don't like when CW likes to reuse the same actors for other shows. You see one act on Supernatural, and then you'll see that person on The Flash. You'll see one person on Arrow, and then you'll see him on Vampire Girls. I don't watch Vampire Girls, I think the guy who's going to play the Nephilim was not the Antichrist, Anarchy. The guy who's the Anarchy in Arrow is going to be the Nephilim for Supernatural season 13, which is very funny because he was a good actor in Arrow season 4. So I hope he does good. And the reason the alpha vampire girl is coming after Sam and Dean is because they killed the alpha vampire, of course. Now, I wouldn't have Sam and Dean kill her, per se. I'll have Sam and Dean find her parents, who have been very sick and worried about her since the vampire, the alpha vampire, probably kidnapped her. And her parents has been sick ever since. Like, they've been searching for her for maybe about a year, and then after that, they just gave up. They just think either she's never going to be found or she's just dead, of course. But Sam and Dean end up fighting her, and the alpha vampire girl ends up going back to her family as a vampire. So, the reason why I have the alpha werewolf in here is just to throw some tension in there. It's like Sam and Dean try to look for the girl's parents while trying to kill the alpha werewolf. Remember, this could be the alpha werewolf's introduction, or this could be the introduction of the werewolf's return. So this will be the second or first episode. I gotta keep mentioning that because some people like to forget stuff already in my videos while watching my videos. We're getting to the nitty gritty, and let's move on to the top 3 plots of this season. Number 3 is I would like to see God, death, and the darkness all in the same room. All one episode. Now, if this episode even happens, you know, this episode is going to take place around episode 16, 17, you know, closer to the end of season 13 of the season. Now, as you know, I've been wondering who's older, death or God? And the darkness in season 11 doesn't know death. Now maybe death went with a different name before he called himself Death. And if y'all remember what Death said, I'm gonna play a clip right here.
I gotta ask, how old are you?
As old as God. Maybe older. Neither of us can remember anymore. Life, death, chicken, egg. Regardless, at the end, I'll reap him too.
God? You'll reap God?
Oh yes. God will die too, Dean.
Exactly. You could be older than God, Death, right? Now, I don't care who's older than who, God or Death. I don't care who's older. All I know, one it better be older than the other than 1 second. So God could be older than Death by 1 second, or Death could be older than God by 1 second. But we know that Death, the darkness is older than both of them. And these three are very much connected in some way. Death and God are connected by this. You can't have life without death. And for God in the darkness, you can't have the light without the dark. Now, how will you connect death to the darkness? You can't have death without the dark. You can't have dark without the death. Because as you're closing your eyes, you see death closing onto you. I don't know. But see, I've been wondering, how would this even go down? Because God's not going to, where does God even hang out when he's not on screen? Where was God this whole time? Where he was on Earth this whole time. You know, he did Snapchat and all that crap. Is that right? By the way, short plug, that Is It Over song is coming soon. But yeah, this is just anticipated. I'm very much anticipated on this very thing happening. I really want it to happen. I'll even beg the supernatural writers on my knees. I will beg for this episode. I'll even run around naked for it to happen. I'll jump off a bridge. You know that saying. Or you jump off a bridge. You know, I'll jump off a bridge into a battle of war. I know that ain't make any sense, but that's how much I want this episode. And so is number 2 is the return of God. This episode could take place before the God and the Death and the Darkness and the episode they do, or it could take place after. Actually, I would have this episode take place before the God, the Death, and the Darkness in this episode. And you could have death. Yes, you have death be mentioned in this episode because Sam is going to become God for one day. If y'all don't remember season 6, Death gave Dean his ring, and Dean, had to become Death for one day to get Sam's soul out of the cage. Now, I don't know how you set it up, but Sam says, like, I could do Chuck's job. Sam could do Chuck's job better than him. And Chuck hears that. He says, oh, really? He said, Chuck? He said, you heard that? He said, of course. I hear and see everything. Of course. He said, my bad. And Chuck says to Sam, oh, really? Okay. Let's put that theory to the test. And then, well, it can't just be for no reason. It has to be like a setup. It has to be like a true reason why Sam is becoming God for a day. And Dean is going to say, come on, really? This makes no sense. Oh, it really makes any sense? It doesn't really make any sense? Remember when we used death for one day? Oh, really? He said, you know about that? Dean just like thinks, oh yeah, thinks. He said, of course, you hear and see everything. He said, by the way, where's Amara? He said, oh, she's training. Training? Dean says. I'm training her how to use her powers. I'm training her how to see and hear everything. And that's why, Sam, if you think you can do my job better than me, I'm going to give you my powers. He said, you know what? I'm going to give you all 100% of my powers. I'm going to have no powers. You got 24 hours, and then I'll blah, blah, blah. Because there has to be a reason, remember? And you have Sam either fail or pass. Now, you have Sam pass, and Sam rub it in Dean's face because Sam says, I pass. Because you failed to be, Dean, you failed to be Death. But, because remember, Dean said he thinks Death rigged it from the start. Or you can have Sam fail just like Dean. And because whichever way you go, they could both be intriguing. I would actually have Sam pass, because he's smart. He knows you can't answer every prayer. You can't answer every call. He has to, he could either take people to heaven, because God can take people to heaven, even though that's pretty much the Reaper's job. And something that needs to be clarified, did Death make the angels of Reapers? Or did God make the Reapers and give them the death? That needs to be explained. But let's move on to the number one thing that truly needs to happen. And that's the plot of the season 13. And we already know what the season 13 plot is going to be. And that is Lucifer and the Nephilim being the villains. But hold up. What needs to happen, it needs to be Lucifer, the Nephilim, and the return of the Antichrist. Picture. I've been waiting for the Antichrist to return since season 5. When he was introduced in that episode called Children of Something, Something, Something. I'll put the title right here. Now, the supernatural writers, for some reason, don't want to use them. Jared and Jensen have been wanting to see the return of the Antichrist. The fans want to see the Antichrist return. So what is going on? Let's bring him back. This is a good time to bring him back. We can see a 3-man team up. You have Sam and Dean, you know, later on during the season, bring the Antichrist to their side. They can see why Lucifer, they explain why he's a bad guy. And like maybe like the Antichrist goes back in time and sees what Lucifer did during season 5. I don't know. But remember, the Antichrist powers only works when Lucifer is out of the cage. So when Sam and Dean get the Antichrist to come on to their side, that could play a part into the Antichrist losing his powers. Because maybe like Lucifer goes back into the cage on purpose and he somehow gets a way to come back out to make the Antichrist lose his powers. I mean, that'll be a lot of, contradicting itself. Because if Lucifer's in the cage, then the Antichrist loses his powers. But how can he go back into the cage on purpose and then come back out of it with his powers not intact? Wouldn't make any sense. Or you could do it with this. The Nephilim join Sam and Dean, and it's Lucifer and the Antichrist. So we could get more development on the Antichrist, still being evil. Well, you will have, because after this plot line, right, for season 14, you can bring back the Antichrist as an anti-hero. Because, you can't keep powerful characters on the show. Look at God. He just appeared for 6 seasons. Yeah, 6 seasons. And he returned, season 10 at that 250th episode, 200. But back to what I was saying. Got off course again. I will have, during the season, like Lucifer, wanting to destroy every place that we've seen in supernatural history. Maybe we have Lucifer destroy the empty. Who created the empty? Did God create the empty? I don't think so. Because why would he let that even happen? No, they don't deserve to go to heaven or hell or purgatory. Throw them into the empty. So, yeah, I don't see God created the empty. Maybe death created the empty. I will also see Sam and Dean trying to look for an archangel blade. Because remember, you can't kill an archangel with an angel blade. Maybe you could hurt an archangel with an angel blade, but you can't kill him. Now, Lucifer has an archangel blade. However, we have never seen it. We have only seen Gabriel's archangel blade, and that was in season 5. And that was the same blade Lucifer killed his own brother with. Now, maybe you could have Lucifer's archangel blade be in one of his crypts. Like, remember in season 8 when the angel tablet was introduced, where the angel blade was in Lucifer's crypts. So maybe you could say Lucifer's archangel blade this whole time was in one of his crypts. So that's why you didn't see it in season 5. You didn't see it in season 11 or 12 because he doesn't like using that archangel blade. Maybe we could get like a small backstory when God gave the archangel blade to Lucifer. Like Lucifer said, "I don't want this." He said, "What do I need this for? I'm Lucifer. I could do stuff with the snap of my finger, just like you, Dad." Because Gabriel likes to snap his finger a lot, and I think he got it from Chuck. But you could also say maybe he got it from Lucifer because Gabriel got all his tricks from Lucifer, because Lucifer taught him those tricks. But yeah, we can finally see the archangel blade. I would like to see 2-part episodes in heaven and in purgatory. Now, I don't know what would be Sam and Dean going to heaven for. I don't know. But in heaven, I would like to see, I will have this 2-part heaven episode, see the return of a lot of characters that have died and go there. We can see the return of Ash. We can see the return of that girl who has a crush on Sam. We can see the return of James Novak. We can see the return of Kevin. Like, we can see a whole lot of people of characters that went to heaven. We can see a lot of them return. And something that needs to be cleared up for me. This girl right here. Is she an ancestor to James Novak? Because Castiel has a thing for the Novak bloodline. Because Castiel did say the Novak bloodline is very special. There's no reason. There has to be a reason why Castiel chose this woman. And the reason I am mentioning the Novaks is because Claire is going to be in this 2-part Heaven episode. Actually, I don't think it's going to be 2-part. It's going to be a 1-part. The Purgatory is going to be a 2-part episode. Because Lucifer, as I said, is destroying all these places. And some of the people in Purgatory like, killing in Purgatory, and they don't want it to be destroyed. So they end up helping Sam and Dee. Now, in this episode, you will have the return of Eve, of course, because when she died in season 6, she went back to Purgatory. And you will also see the person who's the main villain in season 7, Richard Roman, the Leviathan version. You will see the return of other monsters of past characters we saw in Purgatory. You see Gordon. You will see that vampire girl from the early seasons that Castiel burned. You will see Gordon's Walker's sister, just for a cameo. You will see the return of Benny. You will see the return, you're going to see returns of characters from the Heaven episode, in the Purgatory episode. Maybe you'll even see Charlie in the episode, in the Heaven episode. We'll even go to Hell for a 2-part, not 2-part, 1-part. Like all these, the Purgatory episode, the Heaven episode, and the Hell episode, will be all back to back to back. All 3 of those episodes. So it's kind of like a 3-parter, but it's also like a 1-parter. So, and I just thought of this. Lucifer will find the Spear of Destiny. Demon will find the Spear of Destiny in the Men of Letters bunker. If y'all don't remember, Dean found this when they found the Men of Letters bunker in season 8. So, now, I don't think they should use it because if you watch Legends of Tomorrow, season 2, this would be too similar to that. And even if Lucifer got his grasp on the Spear of Destiny, God could just reverse it. But will he want to reverse it? Will the darkness want to reverse the Spear of Destiny? But another thing I would like to see is exploring the multiverse, of course. Because we gotta get more information on that Apocalypse Earth. And check out the video before this one. I explained the multiverse. I know I probably said it earlier, but I think I did. But even I mentioned the Flash. No, I think I did mention it earlier. I'm not going to get into it again. But Lucifer goes around destroying the Earths. That's, of course, related to supernatural. So he destroys the Apocalypse Earth. And remember, if there's a Lucifer on that Earth, then that means either God made another Lucifer and put him in charge of that Earth, or God made another God who made Lucifer, and of course we got, that Apocalypse Earth. Another thing I would like to see is Avalon. Now, this is where the fairies go. And this was in season 6, where we saw Dean get kidnapped by fairies. That episode, I swear that was definitely my top 5 episodes of season 6. But I think because we need to gather a lot of people to take down Lucifer. I'll even have the return of I'll bring back Faith for this, I'll bring her back for the finale because she will attack Lucifer from behind. Because remember,
Fate strikes when you least expect it.
yep, of course. And the reason I'll have, excuse me, I'll have Sam and Dean go to Chuck for this. They'll go to God. And God says, remember, I only came off the sidelines to help with the darkness problem. And Lucifer, he said, why do you need my help? You defeated him before. You defeated him with that stupid egg thing, which was stupid. You put him in the cage with the 4 horsemen rings. And what do you need me for it? You've done it before. So, what's the problem? He said, maybe Lucifer's, he's using all his powers to his ability. He's no longer taking Sam and Dean lightly. Well, he still kind of is because how else are we going to have this 23 episode season? He's not taking Sam and Dean lightly, but he still is. So Chuck still decides to help, but not help. And this is how we can get the Sam and this is how we can get the Sam becomes God. He says, okay, you become me for a day. And if you pass the challenge, I'm going to have somebody help you who you totally forgot about. It's very disappointing because he's very important to the supernatural books if I were to continue them. And that is your brother Adam. Or most importantly, Michael. He's going to defeat Lucifer for you. He says, really? You think Adam's going to be so happy to see us? And he says, I don't know. That's if Sam, passes being me for a day. He says, okay, Sam passes, right? They go to the place where they went into in season 11. They go to Limbo. It's not the true cage, but it's the cage adjacent. And you have, Michael and Adam trade places because while they're in the cage, they'll trade places on who's controlling the vessel. Be sometimes Michael, controls the vessel, who's mostly touching himself, and there'll be Adam touching himself while Lucifer is just watching in the corner. Like maybe because I think they still have their powers while in the cage. They just can't use their powers to get out. And also, I'll get to that. So, God puts Michael into the cage adjacent, right? But the person who ends up answering, or the person they end up talking to, is Adam. He says, Sam? Dean? Is that you? He says, yes, Adam. And then Dean says, is Michael home? We need to talk to him. He says, no, first we need to talk about me for a second. And then Adam starts going on a rant. He says, you forgot about me. He says, we didn't forget about you. He said, oh, really? I've been in hell for over 200,000 years in hell time. Because remember, hell time is different than Earth. So that means he's been in hell for over 700 years, or 500 years. Because he's been in there since season 5. But anyway, Dean says, I did try to get you out. I told Death, to go get Sam's soul and you out, but he told me to pick, and I chose him. Adam says, I get that part. You've been knowing Sam your whole life. But even after that, even Death, whoever that Death guy is, told you to pick. You could have found another way, right? Did you even at least try to find another way in to get me out of the cage? And then Sam and Dean look at each other and they go, exactly. And no, Michael is too crazy right now. He's in his own, let's just say, heaven or hell right now. He said, and you have like Sam and Dean use that angel spell, where they talk to well, it wouldn't work because, or maybe you could find the reverse. Because remember, you could talk to an angel I mean, you could talk to the human while the angel is in control of the vessel. So maybe you could find like the reverse version. They talk to the person who's in the vessel, but not the person who owns the vessel. So they try to find a way to talk to Michael. It says, Sam, Dean, where am I? He said, this doesn't look like the cage. And he says, Sam and Dean says, no, it's the cage adjacent. It looks like the cage, but it's not the cage. He says, what do you want, losers? He says, okay. We kind of earned that, but still, we need your help. What do you need my help for? I'm busy. Oh, touching yourself? Really? He said, I might be touching myself, but I like enjoying it. Okay, this is getting weird. We need your help to defeat Michael. This is why. You defeat, like they say this. Michael says the same thing God says. What do you need me for? You already defeated him. And then like they talk and like they able to convince Michael. He says, okay, I'll think about it. And then like it's the end of the season. And we get like now this season 13, season 14 is gonna set up the Apocalypse 2.0. And then we could have Sam and Dean, or at least Sam, like take the vessel of Lucifer one more time. And Lucifer will say to Sam, or Lucifer will say to Dean about in Sam's body, he says, I told you, Dean, no matter what details you altered, we were always going to end up here. And Dean says, how do you remember that timeline? And as Lucifer gives that, thing. He says, because Lucifer, one of his powers is he could he can see the future. He cannot see the whole future, but he can see like part of the future. And that's how you can play with that thing of the Nephilim. Because can the Nephilim see the whole future, while Lucifer could see part of the future? Because he knew Sam was going to say yes, but he didn't know he was still going to lose after that. See? The Nephilim could see the whole future, while Lucifer could see part of the future. Get it? So, and he said, true, we were always going to end up back here. But you wasn't expecting this, right? Michael. Yes. And Michael, we finally see Dean Jensen, played by, instead of playing Dean all the time, we finally see Dean playing Michael. I would like to see Jensen's interpretation of Michael. Because we had, the guy who plays Adam, put his name right here. We had young John Winchester, Eric, I forgot his name. Aaron Colin, something like that. So yeah, we'll finally get to see the Michael and Lucifer fight. And that's how season 14 ends. Because remember, I said this is a part 14 storyline. But I know I just said I would rather have that. I told you we were always going to end up back here, take place at the end of season 13. Yeah. So it'll be this. It'll be Lucifer versus the Nephilim. It'll be Michael, the Nephilim, the Antichrist. No, it'll be Lucifer, the Antichrist, versus Michael, Sam and Dean, troops, some other people, and Michael. And they defeat Lucifer while God, the darkness, and death watch on the sidelines, right? And Lucifer gets back in the cage. Like maybe they bring back the ring. They either bring back the egg, which I thought was stupid, or they bring back the 4 horsemen rings. I don't know if they're like, I think they're gone now. I don't think so though. But when Lucifer gets back in the cage, right, the darkness fixes the cage. Because remember, the cage is still damaged from when the darkness got released. She said, since I broke the cage, I'ma fix it. And that's how I end season 13 or season 14. And that is with Lucifer back in the cage. With the cage all sealed up. And you have Michael go back to heaven with God. And, you know, Sam and Dean says there's still problems to fix on this earth. We still have monsters. We still have other alphas. Because remember, there's still other alphas out there that have been mentioned. We just haven't seen them. And, yeah. So thanks. Oh, and by the way, I'll have, because remember, Sam and Dean are the focal points, so they're going to have to be involved with that battle. And another thing, you could have Lucifer bring his Archangel Blade to the war, to the battle. And you have Michael's Archangel Blade. Bring it. So, thanks for joining me. You're going to have 2 more videos before I go back to the future. And I hope I did better this time without the stuttering. Mostly because I edited it out. Because, oh man, if y'all saw the... No, let's just stop it right there. But, this is Giovanni saying, you have failed the...
Son of a bitch!
test. Hasta la vista.